So, Josh, you don't mind if we interview you on camera a little
No,
bit?
no, that's great. That's fine.
Okay.
You need my personal, sure.
A little turning
That's my release right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're here with Josh Goldbloom.
Yes.
And he's the founder and, I guess, artistic director of the Awesome Fest, which is a 1980s themed film and music festival.
Well, the Awesome Fest, it's not a 1980s themed, it's a film and music festival that we've been producing for a few years now. I think this is our 4th season.
Right.
But this year we just wanted to focus on the 1980s. So it's not, I think a lot of people are, people that haven't been following the Awesome Fest tend to believe that we're just an 80s film series, but no, we're not.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So it kicks off June 14th, right?
June 14th, yeah.
And it goes through August what?
It goes through August 17th.
August 17th, okay. And what are some of the primary venues? It's all over, right?
Yeah, it's citywide, and this is the first. This is the first summer that we're extending out into the suburbs. We'll be at Parks Casino every Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be at Drexel Park in University City on every Thursday. Every Friday we'll be at Liberty Lands in Northern Liberties, and then Mondays we'll be right here at the Trocadero. On Sundays we'll be doing a bunch of fun like concerts and events throughout the city. We also have later in July. We have a bunch of events at the Art Museum at Eakins Oval, directly in front of the Rocky statue.
All right. So, how many have you calculated? How many total events or is it just beyond?
Yeah,
you're not counting.
I think we definitely have over 50 events throughout the entirety of the summer. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, I'm going to digress. So, this is a little bit different venue from the last time we probably spoke.
Crazy. How long ago was that?
I don't know. I was going to ask you. Let's see. So it was obviously tied to Heroin Town, which was your documentary.
Yeah.
So
which is still out there, if you can believe that. It's
really?
Still, Netflix just signed us on till 2018. Yeah, so we're live on Netflix.
So that was something that you produced basically in your parents' basement or something? Or?
Yeah, no, it wasn't in my parents' basement.
That's where you edited it.
Yeah. We I lived in Connecticut for a year doing that. Yeah, living in the Hotel Hooker. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With a bunch of folks that were, they had some issues. Many of them were heroin addicts, obviously.
Yeah.
And they were facing eviction, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And you
we
took it to many festivals, didn't you?
Yeah, we took it all around the world. We won Best Documentary in LA, and we won Best Doc here at the Philly Film Festival. Yeah, back in 2005.
Okay. So we probably met before the final cut.
When did we? I think
we did too.
Before it went to the Philly Film Festival.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we probably did that in your parents' house.
Yeah, I think it was in my parents' house. That's
and
crazy.
for the Northeast Times readers, you're from what, like Somerton originally?
Yeah, I grew up in right off of Bustleton and Renard, so I guess it's like the Somerton area. Yeah, right on the county line.
Yeah.
Far
and
northeast.
Where'd you go to school again?
I went to school at Baldy, and then I ended up at Northeast High School, but I was in boarding school for most of my high school years in Massachusetts. Yeah, I was a little bit of an asshole.
That's fine. So describe, now we're going to fast forward so that would have been like 2005, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to fast forward from 05, 1, 2, 3, 8 years.
Yeah.
So what is your, you work here at the Trocadero Theatre, right?
Yeah, well, my business partner, Joanna Pang, owns the Trocadero Theatre, so my business partner for the Awesome Fest. Yeah, so our offices are located upstairs. Yeah.
Okay, so this is you're here in your role with the Awesome Fest, as opposed to, but you're also sit on some boards and stuff for
we do
local film community.
No, I did. We've been pretty active in the film community for the past 4 or 5 years. I was the artistic director for the 2011 Philadelphia Cinefest. I was the program director over at the Philadelphia Film Society. We did a film program with the Franklin Institute and the Science Festival. We've coordinated over 150 Philadelphia premieres over the course of the past couple of years. Started the Philadelphia Underground Film Festival. We've been around. Yeah.
Is this a different tact for you than? I mean, you got into it as a filmmaker, right?
I got into it as a filmmaker. Yeah, this all just really started as a hobby. It was just something that when I came back from Austin, Texas, I wanted to bring a little bit of the film community that I saw out there And so, yeah, we just wanted to program like a little local film series to bring the film community together. And we started at the Piazza at Schmidt's in Northern Liberties, and it just kind of turned into a full-time career. Yeah, it just kind of snowballed into what it is now, which is great. I love every second of it. I had no intentions of it becoming what it's become, but you know, I'm just kind of riding the wave of it all, just seeing where it goes.
Right. So, give us the data here. You started this in what year?
I started the Awesome Fest. I started as the Philly Underground Film Festival, which eventually turned into the Awesome Fest, probably back in 2011. Yeah, after yeah, I mean, it kind of, there's been so many different paths between starting this and me venturing off doing other things with the Film Society and Cinefest, but it came back to the Awesome Fest probably back in 2011.
I read a story about, what were you living in Northern Liberties or living
Still
at Were you at the Piazza itself, or you just happened to frequent
at the Piazza, yeah.
Okay, so you saw these great screens.
Well, we saw, I mean, it's just a giant, big fucking screen in the middle of Center City. It's like, holy shit, someone's got to fucking do something with this goddamn screen. So that was kind of, was that bad?
Yeah, it's okay.
No, it's cool. We can edit it.
Okay.
So
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing that screen the first time I saw that screen, and it was like, and don't get me wrong, I love sports, but it's like you can walk into any bar at any time and watch an event like that. And the sporting events are great out there, but we just had the concept of like, hey, let's start taking independent films, finding these movies from Sundance, South by Southwest, and putting them on this grand scale, on this huge platform. And so that's what we started to do. You know, one film turned into 10 movies, turned into a whole summer worth of films. And then, we were there for a good 2.5 years doing events over at the Piazza.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what were you like targeting, or what was the vision? I mean, obviously you sound like independent films, but this is quite a departure. This is sort of cultish type, but mainstream films.
Well, I think when you work within that, when you're within that framework of indie films for a good 4 or 5 years, my range of movies that I love goes across the entire board. So, I really just wanted to do something that wasn't necessarily cliquish, that was for everybody. And I think anyone can relate to the films from the 1980s. And, our goal from day one has been to create a destination festival here in Philadelphia. So, you have your South by Southwest, you have your Sundances, and they're the best at what they do. And we kind of wanted to create something that was our own here in Philadelphia. So hence, us doing an entire summer worth of festivities. And then I just figured the best welcoming mat for something like that would be something for everybody, which I felt was the 1980s. I think it just speaks to unadulterated fun from that time. And so, this is just something I had to get out of my system. There was no way.
You are an interviewer because you're predicting my next question. Like, why the 1980s per se?
Yeah.
What is it about that? If you could expand upon what you just said.
I'm a child of the 80s. I was born in 1981. So, those are the movies that shaped me as a child. I mean, my dad was a PR director for West Coast Video. So it's just like my whole childhood was just movies. Before anybody had, the VHS, the VCRs. I mean, they were in our house, and I was just a kid in a candy shop with it. It was like every single movie off of the shelves. It didn't matter what it was, I was putting into our VCR. So I think this is more of like a nostalgic thing for everyone. I think it's like your comfort food for films. And we tested the waters a little bit last year with a 10 film series outdoors. And we saw some of the best crowds that we've ever seen. And I think this is just like a purge for me. Like, I couldn't just pick 10 movies from the 80s. I mean, we literally watched over the course of 8 months every single movie from the 1980s. It was just bananas. And it's when you say, oh, go ahead and pick 50 movies from the 80s, it sounds reasonably like an easy thing to do. But when you look at every single film that was produced from the 1980s, it's not so easy. So this is just, for me, it's a purge. It's needed to get it out of my system.
Give me a few examples of the different genres. I mean, you talk about Terminator's 1980s. That started out low budget and just blew up, right?
Right.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes.
But then you have like you have the John Hughes, right?
Sure.
That's like a whole different with I forget what they called their pack.
The Brat Pack.
The Brat Pack. That's what it was. Like, are those the two of the areas that the '80s are known for, or is there like really way different
I mean, I
type
think
of
it's all
styles?
across the board. Again, more than anything, when you remember a film from the 1980s, I think when people go, "Oh yeah, the Terminator," I don't think they so much remember that film as the time in their life, that film related to. And so I think it's different for everybody, and that's why we had to go across the board with the film selection. For me, like movies like Labyrinth and Purple Rain that we have in the festival, they weren't my favorite films as a child. I don't even think I saw those movies well into my teenage years, but we had to recognize for a lot of people that that's something that they can relate to. And so that's really what the program's become. If it were just my favorite movies, it'd probably be just a bunch of weird, wacky, horror, grimy 80s movies, But I mean, I think, there's definitely, I've defined the festival in my style. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is one of my favorite movies of all time. I wouldn't have produced this festival if we hadn't have gotten that film with the filmmakers for the first appearance. I mean, it's just, there's things in this festival that I needed to have to really build the momentum off of it and push it forward.
Cool.
And not to mention the independent stuff as well. Like, that's always our heart and soul. And I think when you look through the program, when we were scouting films at South by Southwest and Sundance, we saw so many films that tied in thematically to the 1980s, from VHS 2 to Downloaded, which is directed by Alex Winter, who was Bill from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. You've got Interior Leather Bar with James Franco. You've got, The Spectacular Now, Kings of Summer. I think these coming-of-age stories and the style from the 1980s, the filmmakers now that are my age, they were defined by this time, and they're making those movies, with the thoughts, the movies from the 1980s, from the past, from their childhood.
Are we finally getting to the point where we're defining that sort of decade? Because, the 60s are often defined by, the hippies or the social consciousness movement, and in like in thinking about your 80s tie-in, I was also thinking about like that Rolling Stones album, the compilation that they put out, it's called Sucking in the 70s. Like at the time, it was, in popular, belief was that the Rolling Stones sucked in the 70s, but in retrospect, they were great.
It's a funny way to look at it. It's like my greatest hits record. It's like whenever you look at a greatest hits record, you're always like, if you're a true fan of that time or that band, you go, oh shit, man, like why did they include this song, or why was this song here? There's always a song that's left off. So I think people might look at this like that, which is great. But this is it's a greatest hits record for me. And I think the people that are functioning within this business, the entertainment industry, and the people that grew up in my time, sure, I mean, it's hard to get away from, the films that were impactful to your youth. Yeah, I mean, those are the things that define you. That's what shapes you. These are the things that build you into what you are, and it's hard to let go of that. So I think, the filmmakers working today that are from my generation, sure, I mean, there's a lot of influence from the 1980s. Yeah.